Oh God, Dane.
Here is a copy of Persona 3 that I pre-ordered when I was 16. It's made by Atlus, one of the pioneers of the RPG genre, and today's sponsor. You heard that right. Today's video is sponsored by the one and only Atlus, celebrating the release of Persona 5 Tactica. So in honor of its release, here is my 60-second tier list, starting from lowest rated party member to highest. Haru lacks an element and a top tier voltage attack, but has decent healing. Makoto shares Haru's element, but has a better voltage. Morgana's healing and movement, along with a better element, put him above Haru and Makoto. Irina lacks a persona and high damage, but is best at spamming one more opportunities. Joker is the jack of all trades, and falls just under Ryuji because of her voltage attack. Ryuji has the best single target damage in the game, and Yusuke is far and above the best character with damage, speed buffs, and an amazing voltage. Grab this instant tactical classic Persona 5 Tactica today on Xbox Series X, S, and 1, Windows PC, PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. Now on to the video. An RPG protagonist is a complicated beast, due to the expectations of a bombastic fantasy or sci-fi storyline. The hero is often someone who has some hidden potential, unexpected power, or chosen abilities. Because of this, during gameplay, RPGs will often need to balance the story expectations with reality. This has been done well, and not so well. Today, we're looking at the top 10 protagonists who are just straight up broken. As is the case with these games, we'll be considering each character within their own title. If they are able to manipulate, abuse, or completely obliterate the battle mechanics of their individual title in any way, then they are a candidate for this list. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and while you're at it, check out my perks for Patreon members. If you become a pro member today, you can request your own top 10 list. Number 10. Baten Kaitos Origins has an incredibly unique card-based battle system. In Origins, you have 3 party members who all share a pool of cards in order to attack. Now, this makes individuality in this title a little difficult. The only thing that really sets the party members apart are EX combos. If you select specific cards in a row, the party members can perform an EX combo. Sagi, the main protagonist, happens to have an endgame spammable EX combo that can destroy almost any boss in the entire game while also fully healing himself. In order to pull it off, you need 3 specific endgame cards, and then you only need your basic attack cards. So it is pretty easy to pull off multiple times in battle. That is, if the enemy lives through it. Number 9. Ryu, the chosen dragon from the Breath of Fire series, has always been fairly broken. His transformations in the first 2 titles lended him immense utility, and late game Breath of Fire 4's Ryu could absolutely destroy. But the truly broken blue-haired wonder of this series is Ryu from Breath of Fire 3. Due to the master mechanic, this game is just completely busted, and Ryu is no different. Now, unlike many of the other heroes on this list, there isn't a single way to break Ryu. If you keep Ryu dead and at level 1 until you receive the Master Bunion, you can start him off with an incredible strength and speed stat boost. Toss him on Deus in the late game, and you have a physical powerhouse. Mage Ryu is probably the worst of the 3 builds, but it's still viable. The final build is meant to boost his AP, which is sorely needed in order to spam his Dragon Gene transformations. Either way you look at it, if you can get him on a master early on, Ryu will grow into an absolute beast. Number 8. In the world of Fire Emblem, the protagonists often get the raw end of the deal. Late promotions have plagued the protagonists of this series, but all of that changed with Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Byleth is the absolute strongest protagonist in the series. They can be built into almost any class in the game and outpaces nearly every party member in the Fire Emblem universe. Now, I know what you're wondering. Is there a difference between female and male Byleth? And the answer is yes. Female Byleth is smoking hot and male Byleth looks like an idiot. I mean, female Byleth is the better choice and the stronger character with access to the female-only classes, which includes one of the best classes in the game, the Falcon Knight. With increased mobility, access to more weapon types, and incredible damage potential, Falcon Knight Byleth creams the competition. Number 7. In Xenoblade Chronicles X, a severely underrated title that is almost entirely responsible for the creation of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Look it up. Anyway, you can create a hero called Cross, and Cross is a god given the right build. You see, there are multiple builds you can go with in Xenoblade Chronicles X. There's the Black Bane insta-kill build that uses the ray gun, or you can absolutely abuse the overdrive mechanic with specific builds. But the most infamous, and probably the most broken, is the Blossom Dance build, which can one-hit every single enemy in the game, as is common with Xenoblade games. The build is complicated to explain, but if you're curious, I'd suggest checking out Enel's video on the topic. This guy is practically the Einstein of the Xenoblade series. Number 6. The Tales series is no stranger to broken protagonists, but the most broken of all is the demonic babe Velvet. Velvet's mystic arts are incredibly fast and absolutely devastating, and with the right combo setup, she can infinitely combo any enemy that isn't resistant to stun. Swallow Dance, Gouging Spin, Harsh Rebuttal, and Rising Moon make up the best combo in the game, and if spammed with the use of her mystic arts, Velvet's damage potential is unstoppable. Number 5. Yuri is the main protagonist for both Shadow Hearts and Shadow Hearts Covenant. In the first title, he's pretty busted if you abuse the Fire Fusion strength stat and the Mind's Eye. In the second title, Yuri truly becomes a god. Early on, using the same strategy as the first game with the Fire Fusion will give you a mid-game boss slayer. But late game, using the third form of the Earth Fusion, Neomon, and Yuri's Final Fusion along with the Mind's Eye will break this title. On top of this, Yuri's Final Fusion has a screen wiping attack that covers the entire battlefield. So yeah, he's crazy strong. It should be mentioned that with his other fusions, Yuri can also cover roles like healer, buffer, mage DPS, and so on. But you'll want him as a physical attacker to get his full potential. Number 4. Trails of Cold Steel's 4 titles have a major power creep issue. One that makes this series one of the most exploitable RPGs I've ever played. And it's amazing. I already covered the evasion mechanic in my previous list, but I didn't quite dive into the Harem King himself, Rean Schwarzer. Rean is a busted protagonist, and just so happens to be busted for different reasons in each installment. He's probably most broken in Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 4. In 1, he can use delay gems and arc slash to indefinitely delay all enemies' turns. Spamming arc slash can make almost every battle a cakewalk. This was fixed, kind of, in the later titles, but by Trails of Cold Steel 4, Rean has his Ogre mode, which is the best single buff in the series, incredible stats and crafts, but what really pushes him over the edge is his absolutely broken Brave Orders, specifically Divine Song and Dark Moon. Both of these orders take away casting time for the party and raise his ATS. Since Arts users are completely busted in games 3 and 4, if you're using party members like Emma, Muse, or Crow, then paired with Rean, you have the most broken strat in the final entry of this amazing series. Oh, and he also always gets endgame specific broken equipment as well. Number 3. Shin Megami Tensei is a masterclass in turn-based RPG mechanics. Atlus is full of evil geniuses when it comes to game design. Just boot up SMT3, also known as Nocturne, and you'll see what I mean. This game is difficult. That is until it's not. The Demi-Fiend is our silent protagonist, and in true SMT style, is completely customizable, all the way down to his individual stats. Now you could make him into a mage, which would give him good elemental coverage, but the best build for the late game is his physical build. If you prioritize strength, agility, and vitality while picking up skills like focus, might, endure, and the single best physical attack in the game, Frykugel, in the end game, you will be one-shotting bosses or clearing mobs in a heartbeat. Number 2. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is the culmination of all Xenoblade games and is a must-play for fans of the genre. But as far as characters' uniqueness, the 6 party members kind of fall flat. There are only small differences between each warrior, that is other than the protagonist, Noah. Towards the last third of the game, Noah gets access to his talent art, Unlimited Blade. This lets him use his Lucky 7 sword for a set amount of time, and the potential to break this build is incredible. Depending on which role he's in, he'll have specific arts, but the real kicker is through a specific strat as a defender, you and your party can become invincible. Ultimately, Noah is completely busted and makes for one of the strongest Xenoblade protagonists in the series. Number 1. The Persona protagonists all share the same potential for breaking the game. They are the only ones who can switch out personas, thus making them completely customizable and in turn completely broken. But after looking through each title, I think Joker takes the cake. Do you want an insta-kill build using Alice? Or perhaps you want an unkillable team with Maria? Or maybe you just want to be an incredible DPS with Yoshitsune. Building up your ranking with Carlene and Justine will get you the ability Special Treatment. This allows you to buy personas, and with a little bit of grinding, you can have a late game persona very early on. Either way you look at it, Joker is one of the most broken RPG protagonists ever. I want to thank all my Patreon members for everything they've done so far and for the support, and I especially want to thank Atlas for giving such a small channel an awesome opportunity. I really appreciate it. Hey, and make sure to go grab Persona 5 Tactica today. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Alright, this is the final testing. I think the light looks okay. My eyes are a little